Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today. Today we're going to be talking about probably a question you have thought of, considered, maybe have even tried. And the question is, do you believe that you have to lower your price in order to increase your sales? Have you ever thought that before, wondered that before, questioned that before? Do you have to lower your price if you want to increase your sales? And a lot of the time, I think when we are raising our, introducing a service, maybe you're in the beginning stages of, selling your services. Maybe you've acquired this skill set, you've really honed in on your skill set, but now this maybe you're new to actually going out there, packaging your offer and actually trying to sell it. Or maybe you have launched your services once, twice, maybe even 3 times, and you're just not seeing the consistency and the results that you actually want. And these situations here are now leading you to believe that like something's off, right? That maybe your price might be too high, or maybe that your market, maybe you're selling to the wrong audience, or maybe the fact might be, or the thought might be, maybe I just need to lower my prices and offer a discount if I want to increase my sales. So if you've ever thought about that, questioned that, wondered that before, you're going to want to keep listening, okay? So the first thing is first here is that most people typically believe that whatever the price is, right, whether you're selling something for $100, $300, $1,000, $5,000, that price typically generates some sort of friction, right? That there's this price friction that you probably are going to have no matter what. And a lot of the time, you might be thinking that if you lower the price, then it will lower the friction. Have you ever thought that before? Maybe you've even done that before, where you just go down the route of, if I want to reduce this friction, maybe I just need to lower my price, and then that objection of, I don't have the money, or this is too expensive, or it's not in the budget will just disappear. Have you ever thought that before? Maybe tested and tried that before, right? And using this logic, typically too, if you went to business school, or if you took an econ class or anything along those lines, you probably heard of like a demand, what is it called? Like the demand curve, that like the higher the demand, typically the supply demand curve, right? And the curve to me, if we follow that same logic, and if you follow this thought pattern or this belief that if I lower my price, I will then also lower the friction of that objection of the money objection. Think about it like this: if we continue to follow that same logic, if you were to lower your price down to 0, if we're using that same logic, that means that you would have infinite sales, right? Because if you're still believing that if you lower your price, it lowers that money objection friction, that means if we take your price down to 0, that means you should have infinite sales, right? When has that ever happened? That doesn't happen. That does not exist. A lot of the time when we see anything that is for free, we actually steer clear of it. There's this, we were in our downtown, I live in Michigan, and downtown, I think it was like Royal Oak, one day was offering these like free rides, right? They'll just give you a free ride down the street. Nobody was willing to get into that car. Like, what do you mean it's free? Like, no way, something must be wrong. Or if you see anything for free, typically we question the value of it. We question the quality of it. We question whether or not it's going to even be beneficial for us. And quite honestly, if you lower your price down to 0 or close to 0, it does not mean that you're going to remove the friction of being able to sell it, right? And like I said, if we still follow that same logic that if you lower your price, it lowers the friction. If you were to go down to a price of 0, that would ideally mean that you would have infinite sales, but that never is the case. That's never true. If anything, it's actually harder to sell something that's free than something that actually has a price tag on it, right? So that's a first like belief shift or perspective change that you really need to, I really encourage you to enlist yourself in, that just because you lower the price, it does not mean that you lower the friction on being able to sell it, or lower the friction of those objections from being able to sell it. So that's kind of a first thing that we need to all kind of get in agreement on, okay? So if that makes sense, or if you agree with that, just let me know. Type in a yes in the chat, throw some hearts up on the screen, share this video, send me a DM saying like, Jay, I get it now. Lowering my price does not equate to me lowering the friction, and lowering my price does not equate to me increasing my sales, okay? So that's the first thing I want us to all get in agreement on. The second thing is that we think based on a lot of us, we all think based on, how do I want to say this? When you are going out there and selling your services, a lot of the time when you start proactively, or you're about to launch, or you're about to sell, we subconsciously think based on how we react to prices. So I mean that is, a lot of the time, you think as a buyer that lower is better. If you're a consumer, a lot of the time, you as a consumer, you want something that's going to be cheaper. And when you start to go out there and start selling your services, you will start thinking about your prices the same way that you think about how you would buy as a consumer, that lower is better. But there's a twist. When it comes to your services that you are selling, you understand the value that it provides. You understand the benefit that somebody would be able to get if they were to hire and work with you, right? The difference is your prospect doesn't know those things. Your prospect doesn't understand the value. Your prospect doesn't understand the benefit this is going to bring them. Your prospect doesn't fully know or comprehend or get that you could be, the coach or the program or the curriculum. They're just one step away from changing their lives. But your prospect doesn't know that. You as the buyer, you as the seller or the coach or the creator, you get that. So your prospect is only going to understand the value or the benefit of what you offer to the level at which you communicate that to them. How effectively are you telling them the value of your offer in your marketing before they even get on a sales call? In your social proof, your other people raving about it, showing that that they get results from working with you, getting through, hearing about you through referrals. Or how are they being able to understand that value and understand the benefit as it correlates to their individual situation based off the interactions that they have with you, right? They only understand that to the level at which you communicate it. And if you have been a business owner, I'm about to snatch somebody's edges right now. If you have been a business owner who has been hiding in the background, creating but never promoting yourself, not consistently showing up and actually doing live stream videos and communicating and articulating the value that you have to offer, how is your prospect ever going to understand that for themselves? If you aren't showing up and consistently communicating it to them through your content, through creating, points of contact, through having conversation with your prospects, they're never going to get the value. So when we kind of go back to this concept that I just had mentioned to you before, when it comes to your services, you understand the value and the benefit that you offer. The difference is your prospects don't. And when your prospects don't understand the value of what it is that you offer and cannot connect the dots and align how the problem that you solve within your service is the solution to the issues that they're having, they're going to question your price. They're going to I don't really know if this is for me. I don't know if this is in my budget, because they don't get the value of it. They don't understand the benefit of it. But it's your responsibility to be articulating that to them on a consistent and frequent basis to make sure that it is crystal clear that they understand the value and the benefit to the level and depth of which you do. And also it's your responsibility to communicate it in a way that they will understand and comprehend to their individual situation. You got me? So if you are not telling the story and connecting the dots for them, they are not going to be able to connect the dots for themselves. It is not, you get what I'm saying here? So the price is the most important factor in this entire equation when it comes to sales, because your price sends a message about the perceived value and the perceived quality and the expected level of benefit that your service actually provides. So that is something that we also need to make sure that we understand. Your price plays a huge role in the quality of clients that you will attract, and the caliber of clients that you will end up working with, and also the perceived value that somebody has of your service and of you as a brand before they ever even enlist engaging with you or talking to you, right? Your price kind of sends that message off. It's kind of the first non-verbal form of communication that exists in the sales process is, what is the price, right? If you were just walking down the street and you see something that has a price tag of $3,000, you're going to automatically have a perception that, ooh, that thing is either expensive, that thing has high quality, that thing produces legit results, like that's some good stuff, right? But if you're walking down the street and you see something for $3, you're probably not going to think anything high of it. You're not going to think that, you're not going to expect any major life-changing experience from it or some wildly miraculous results. Like, you're going to think about it as just like it's cheap, it's low level, it's whatever. So if the price does not match the perceived value, you either won't sell it or you either leave a lot of money on the table. And I'm curious to know, which bucket have you been in, right? If your price does not match the perceived value, and if you have not been doing an effective job of showing up, creating content, effectively marketing your service based off of this psychological understanding that we're talking about now to help form this perception of what the value of what you offer actually is, like I said, either you will have a really difficult time selling it, or you'll be leaving a lot of money on the table because you'll be underpricing your services. You'll be selling it at a cheaper rate than what you probably should be selling it at. So which bucket are you in? Are you in the bucket where either you're just right now not selling or having a really, really hard time selling, or are you in the bucket where you're leaving money on the table, where you should be raising your rates, you should be selling it at a higher price point, but you're having to offer discounts or do special prices or whatever to get a yes? Which bucket are you in right now? And getting rejected and, haggled on your sales calls, people trying to negotiate, barter, ask for discounts, like, sis, can we have a friends and family situation here? I'm your third cousin twice removed, right? All of these things, if you're constantly getting rejected or experiencing this haggling, it can really lower your confidence, right? It can be really damaging to your confidence and your ability to sell. It can really start to bruise, I don't want to say your ego, but it kind of does impact that. It already takes a tremendous amount of courage to put yourself out there, to sell your services, to show up and be visible. But when you're constantly getting faced with rejections, with, can you offer me a discount? It can really leave you feeling defeated, right? And because you can get to a point where you can start to feel so defeated and so discouraged when it comes to, selling your services, you just start offering discounts because you think that's just the easier way out. Like, you know what? Fine then. Nobody wants to buy my stuff at full price. No, you start to make these absolute statements, right, which are not true either. But you start to make these brush over statements, and then you just start discounting your prices because you don't know what else to do. Can you feel me on that? Like, is that the situation you might be in or have been in? I want you to know that, don't do this. If you've been doing this, we need you to stop doing this. If you're on the verge of doing this, do not start doing this. Don't lower your prices. Increase your knowledge on how to communicate your value. At the end of the day, when it comes to increasing your sales, the number one things when it comes to being able to enroll and convert clients, price is always going to be an objection. You're always going to have sales objections. That's just the name of the game. But when people start to introduce money as being a major factor or a major reason as to why they're not buying, one of the reasons why that happens is because there's a disconnect with the perceived value. They're not able to connect the dots on the thing that you're selling will actually provide the value that they're looking for, they need, or will actually solve their problem. They can't connect that dot easily. So you do not need to lower your prices in order to increase your sales. You can maintain your price. You probably need to raise your rates. For a lot of you who are listening to this right now, you probably are in a boat where you need to raise your rates. And you need to get really, really comfortable and increase your knowledge and your skill set on how to articulate the value of what it is that you do. Because when you can articulate the value of what you do in a way that your prospect understands, price no longer is an objection. And if you are somebody who has been struggling with this, or if you are somebody who wants to increase your knowledge and strengthen your skill set on being able to articulate your value, so you can not only overcome that price objection, but overcome any objection that comes your way, I invite you to sign up for my new training program. It's called The Right Response. It is a very comprehensive training that is specifically designed for individuals like you, who maybe you are a coach, maybe you're a consultant, a freelancer, or course creator, and you want to enroll clients at that $1,500 to $15,000 price point. When we start engaging in those 4 and 5 figure price points, you need to understand the psychology of sales. And it is imperative for you to be able to articulate the value of what you do in a way that your prospects actually understand. Like we mentioned before, You know the benefits that you provide. You know the quality of the service that you deliver. You understand how your offer, how your service can change your prospect's life. They don't yet. Just because they don't right now doesn't mean that they can't. And it's your responsibility to be creating content that overcomes those objections and pre-qualifies your leads. It's your responsibility to know how to lead the sales conversation from the point that they get into your ecosystem all the way to the point where it's time for them to make a decision on whether or not you're the best next step for them. And there's a lot of objections that come along the way, price just being one of them. So if you want some help on how to overcome those objections, how to create your own sales system that is specifically designed to remove any risk and to overcome objections from the point that you're creating content to the moment that you're on a sales call, you're going to want to sign up for this training. So you can click the link somewhere around this video to enroll. It's a very, very new training that we just created that is specifically designed for high ticket sales, for coaches, service providers who want to enroll $1,500 to $15,000 clients and who really want to just remove this struggle and this maybe, and to also just increase your confidence when it comes to being able to overcome objections and really lead a sales conversation and to create your own sales system. So just click the link somewhere around this video and you can sign up and join me. I cannot wait to see you in class. So, okay guys, that was the training for tonight. Hold on, Instagram I think Instagram probably just turned off. Maybe we're good. But I want to take a moment here just to answer any questions that you guys might have. I know this training I feel like was pretty in-depth. And I think it's just really important for you to think about, like, I just want to make sure that you are in a position, especially we're about to go into Q2 of 2020, like where has the time gone? But I want to make sure that if you have not been seeing the revenue results that you maybe expected or that was on your goal list when you started out the beginning of the year, a lot of the time, it's not that you need to create anything new. It's not that you need to go, develop an entirely new offer or create a new course or build a new ebook. A lot of the issue is you just need to learn how to articulate your value in a way that a prospect can understand and know what the most common sales objections are and feel really confident on knowing what to say and when to say it so you can overcome those objections with more ease. And that's what this new training is going to be able to help you do. I'm teaching it live tomorrow, Thursday, March 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, we'll be packaging it into a, DIY, more of a self-study program. And I really would like you to view this training as more of a resource in your library, something that you'll be able to refer back to every time you get on a sales call, every time you get a sales objection, even if you're starting to train somebody on your team in customer service, or even hiring your first salesperson. This will be like a resource that you'll be able to leverage over and over and over again as you grow your business. Because again, objections in sales are unavoidable. They are always going to happen. But there are very strategic things that you can do with your content and with your delivery to ensure that you are removing as much risk as possible and really overcoming those objections before you get on a sales call. I think that's probably the most important thing. Hey, Ebony. I see Courtney's on. Hey, Tracy. Hey, April. Hey, Monique. It's so good to see you guys. But are there any questions you guys have at all about what we talked about today or anything along those lines? Because if so, I would love to take a moment here just to answer them for you and get you good, okay? But you can visit jerishahawk.com/live, L-I-V-E, to sign up for the training that's going to be taught live tomorrow, where you can use that same link to go purchase the training and then, have the replay and have the recording. So I'm really, really pumped. I just finished the workbook earlier today. This is the workbook that you'll get when you sign up for the training. It is so good. But it's going to really walk you through all of the frameworks and the models that we teach. So I'll show you a couple pages of it. But it'll walk you through the models, the frameworks, literally everything that you're going to need to create your own sales system. Let me just read it off, the main objectives that we're going to be able to accomplish together tomorrow, okay? It's going to be so good. But you're going to be able to create and document your own personalized sales process Discover how to lead a permission-based sales approach rather than using sleazy tactics. Know how to enroll clients at premium price points with confidence. Finally, know what type of marketing content to use so that you only attract the right kind of prospects. Learn how to align your sales process with how buyers make decisions. Know how to eliminate client objections prior to the sales call. Regain control over your sales container to ensure clients never ghost you again. And there's a couple more things that we're going to make sure that we cover during the training tomorrow. So, like I said, if you've struggled with objections, want to sharpen your skills on how to overcome client and sales objections, I invite you to join us. Like I said, you can visit jerishahawk.com/live and you can sign up for that. And like I said, I look forward to seeing you guys there tomorrow. So I'll talk to you guys. I'm not seeing any questions pop up. So have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow on the training. Toodaloo.